Greetings, comrades. So, over the last month or so, I have only been playing two games, Baldur's Gate 3 and Terra Invicta. Sadly, I'm still not ready to render my verdict on Terra Invicta, and when it came to Baldur's Gate 3, all that I can say is, yeah, it's as good as everybody says it is. And I couldn't really stretch that into an entire video. In fact, I didn't think I was going to make any videos at all about Baldur's Gate 3, as everyone had already kind of said everything they wanted to say on the game already. That was until recently. I finally found an aspect of the game that I really wanted to talk about. What is that, you may ask? Well, I really like the way Baldur's Gate 3 does relationships. In fact, it might be better than any RPG ever. To explain, let me tell you how romances are usually treated in most RPGs. The main way an RPG usually treats a relationship is that the sexual aspect of the relationship is the end goal of the entire thing. You spend the entire game talking to your romance partner of choice, letting them lay their biggest fears and darkest secrets on you, slowly unraveling and exploring their backstory until one fateful night, just before the world is about to end, and you're gonna go on the final mission to save it. If you're lucky and have said all the right things and have given all the right gifts, your partner of choice will appear before you before the final mission. And then finally, it happens. You share one night of spectacular intercourse, and bam! That's it. You go on the final mission, save the world, and the game is over. If you're lucky, you'll get one more line of dialogue between the characters that will go something like, "Hey, remember when we plowed last night? Wasn't that great?" And that's about it. And in games where this isn't the case, usually what happens once you've slept with a character in the story is you just kind of move on with the main quest anyway and forget about that romance altogether. Well, from a gameplay and story perspective, I can see that this is very satisfying as it gives the player a sense of progression throughout the game. I will submit to you that this is not the way most relationships proceed in real life. Not even close. They proceed more akin to how relationships proceed in Baldur's Gate. To me, it would seem the way most RPGs represent characters is as demisexuals, as the kids say, which is a person who is incapable of feeling sexual attraction to somebody unless they have a deep emotional bond and trust with that person. While there are plenty of people out there in the world who are demisexual, they don't make up the majority of people, not even close. In Baldur's Gate 3, usually, but not always, the person you are romancing will establish a sexual relationship with your character within the first act of the game. And then all the parts about their past, their fears, their vulnerabilities, all of these discussions come after the sexual relationship. And only if that character approves of your previous actions enough to feel comfortable opening up to you. I remember reading a lot of discussion around the launch of the game that the characters in Baldur's Gate 3 were too, quote-unquote, thirsty. And for sure, it was pretty weird at the start of the game when everyone is flirting with you. But you guys have to remind yourselves that, especially at the start, everybody thinks that they're going to die in the next few days. And I'll bet if you thought you were going to die in a handful of days, getting your rocks off one last time would probably be high up on your considerations. I digress though. This thirstiness gradually wanes as the game progresses, and you turn down all the people you don't want to have sex with. That is, except for Gale. Gale just doesn't get it. No, Gale, I don't want to fuck you, no matter how many times you ask me, or how often you try and lure me into your little grove in the middle of the night. It's not gonna happen.
I question the wisdom of that decision, but so be it.
Another thing that is really incredible about the game is that it actually shows you your emotional bond is growing stronger with your romance character through the dialogue and interactions you have. Not only will your characters actually continue to have sex after the first time, it will gradually grow to become more of a background consideration. And if you're paying attention, you'll notice that your romance partner's voice lines and dialogue will change over time. I have some very minor spoilers to follow below, but I'm going to keep everything extremely vague, and I think that you guys will be okay. That is, unless you absolutely want to have no information about Baldur's Gate. In that case, I don't know really why you clicked on this video. But be forewarned, there may be some incredibly minor spoilers, but again, details will be pretty vague. So I chose Lae'zel as my romance partner for my first playthrough, and as I mentioned, we established a sexual relationship early on. However, now in Act 3, the previously hard exterior of Lae'zel has softened considerably as she grows to trust you and becomes more and more vulnerable with her feelings and emotions. For example, when I fell in battle around the first time we had our romantic entanglement, Lae'zel would say something like, "You can't fall, I care about you." Now, in Act 3, the previously stoic Lae'zel will now yell, "You can't die, I love you," which is a great way to show the progress that you and this character have made over the countless difficult fights and trials you've endured together. It's also a great way to show that underneath her gruff exterior, Lae'zel is actually a big softie at heart. In Baldur's Gate 3, your sexual relationship is seen as the beginning of the relationship, not the end of it. I would argue this is much more akin to what real-life relationships are like. I mean, I know I've been married for close to a decade, but I am fairly certain that most people out there don't need a deep emotional relationship to feel sexually attracted to somebody. I'm assuming that for the most part, people who are sexually attracted to each other are going to sleep together within the first handful of dates, as was the style back in my time.
Which was the style at the time?
In Baldur's Gate 3, the relationship isn't treated like a "congrats, you had sex with it, achievement unlocked, now forget about it" moment, but rather a first step in a long, exciting journey, just like the first act of Baldur's Gate 3 feels. Another great thing about establishing your relationship early on is that it allows your characters to interact vastly differently with one another. Because Lae'zel and I are together in our playthrough, she has different ways of interacting with me during various moments of the game. It's going to be interesting to go back and see how she would react to various situations in the game when we aren't in a relationship together. I won't spoil anything directly, but Lae'zel will get jealous at certain times, especially if you're getting too close to another character. She'll leave you if you cheat on her, just as you would expect a real person to do, but she'll also expect more from you at certain moments in the game, and she expects you to consider her more in your decision making. But in a similar manner, you will also get more from her, and it will be much easier in the game to persuade her, which definitely comes in handy at various points. I mean, it's so realistic that she'll even nag you from time to time. Truly, the pinnacle of digital relationships has been achieved.
Chook, you believe you can survive without me?
I really hope more games follow suit with Baldur's Gate 3 and allow relationships to continue to grow and change after the point of first contact. Because not only is this far more realistic to our real lives, but it gives the game far deeper and more complex relationship dynamics. I can't imagine how difficult it would have been for Larian Studios to entangle the massive web of relationships and choices in the game, and taking into account how each character might react in a given scenario, not just as your main character's companion, but also as their potential lover too. It really boggles the mind once you start thinking about all the choices, all the variables in the game, all the potential outcomes they could have. Lastly though, I think this does a lot to quote-unquote de-gamify the relationship aspects of the RPG, because it feels more like a living, breathing part of the game. not just a series of boxes you're hoping to tick off to see that final sex scene before the game ends, which is an extremely artificial way of carrying about a relationship, to say the least. In any case, that's all I got to say on Baldur's Gate 3. It's such a good game, comrades. It really is. It's a game that will set the bar for RPGs for years to come. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I hope you'll join me next time once I finally get my Terra Invicta review out, which I will do, I promise, even if the game kills me. Anyway, until next time, this is the Comrade, signing off for now, and you guys take care.